Greetings YouTube, it's Alan, and I'm back with another tier list video. Um, it hasn't been too long since I did my last tier list video, but these rake in a lot of views, so I thought, might as well give you an update after now that the RTN season in Utrecht has finished up. For the most part, I think there were definitely some surprises and some changes from my predictions at the beginning of the season, but for the most part, things haven't gone too off the rails. So let's just get right into it. Azalea, I'm just going to throw her in D. Not much to say there. She has some play into Phi with like Red in the Ledger chaining, but it's just not good enough. Bravo, I'm going to throw into A. Some people, I think arguably, this moment right now, for example, like the upcoming Battle Hardens in like Portland, or even the Pro Tour in France, I would argue this might be the best meta we've seen for Bravo in a long time. Or at least since I started playing, and I started playing when Monarch came out, so he probably had some play in like WTR stuff, but I think arguably right now is like the best time to be a Bravo main. Briar, I'm also gonna put in A. I think he's just slower than Viscera, slower than Phi, and doesn't. I don't know. He just doesn't do too much better than the other two, so I'm just gonna leave him here. Dash, I'll probably put in C tier. I think she's fine. Like mid-range dash is fine. Like you can probably like go boost in some matchups and go a little bit more control against the Guardians, but for the most part, I just think shows that like are kind of like she's too fair. We've been there. I think Dory, I'm actually gonna put her down to B tier. Originally in my previous tier list, I had her in A tier, but I think just seeing how the meta is starting to shape up, I think like her matchups that I thought were favored at the start of the meta are becoming less favored. So I'm gonna put her in B tier. Kano, I'm also gonna put in C tier. People respect the arcane barrier now, and also I think like decks like Phi and Viscera are just like way too fast for Kano. Like sure you can kill them very fast as Kano if they have no AB or one AB, but the fact that Phi can potentially kill you on turn 2 is still pretty crazy. Katsu, I'm also probably gonna put in C. I think like half of the OG heroes like have like good play, and I feel like the other half of them is like sort of like matchup knowledge. And once you have that matchup knowledge, they can't do too much outside of that, and are too easily played around, in my opinion. Levia, I'll probably also throw in C tier. I think I'll probably just have Azalea be the only D tier. But yeah, Levia, you just kind of play like some mid-range Pubble, Bone Basher build, or you can like go Claws with Blood Debt, but pretty sure most people don't play Claws with Blood Debt anymore. But either way, I don't expect her to do too much. Lexi's a hard one. I think originally I had Lexi in A, but I'm actually gonna move Lexi to B. So if we look at the performance from the calling, the Lexi conversion rate to day 2 was 0%, I'm pretty sure, and in large part, I think like Lexi is very difficult to play, and I think originally I thought she had very good matchups into like Viscera, Briar, Phi. But I think the issue now is that Lexi, even though she like can chain disruption very well, the aggro decks are just too explosive now. Like previously in like previous metas when we saw a lot of Ice Lexis, if you had one off turn, you could still come back from that. But it feels like in this meta, if you have one off turn, you're gonna die. So I think Lexi's kind of struggling to find footing a bit in this meta. The Guardians are also difficult for her, so. Oldhim, I'm actually also gonna put in B tier. I just feel like Oldhim's super overrated right now. I think he is best when he can play a very grindy, fatigue, slow game plan. But I think just like decks like Phi and Viscera, who are like my two of my top picks for this meta, just are too explosive for Oldhim. They go over too easily. And a lot of other decks, have good matchups into Oldhim like Prism, Icelander, things like that. So I don't think Oldhim's in a very good spot right now. I feel like Oldhim was at his best when people cared a lot about breakpoints, or when Chain was like very fatigable, every point of damage mattered. But in this meta, like the fast, proactive decks aren't about, you can't fatigue them, so you kind of need to, you can't really grind them out either because they can also be very explosive. So I think decks like Oldhim aren't great right now, but maybe in the next meta we'll see. Prism I think is S tier. She has great matchups into a lot of decks. and even her losing matchups like Phi and Briar are still pretty winnable. I would say Viscera is the only like auto lose, just from what I hear around from the friends and stuff. But yeah, I would say like Viscera is an auto lose. Phi and Briar you can still win even though it's unfavored, and then like everyone else you just have like these four: Oldhim, Lexi. Well, maybe not Lexi, but Oldhim, Dory, and Bravo are like almost free to an extent if you play well. I mean, maybe not Dory, but Bravo, Oldhim for sure. Like if you're not beating Bravos and Oldhims on Prism, then you're doing something wrong. Reiner, I'll also just throw in C. Like I think he has play, but like he has like the same play as these other heroes. And C is just like passing, right? Like these will do well. I can definitely see them like winning one RTN over the season or like top 8ing some RTNs, but I don't expect them to top 8 like a calling type situation. Moving on to Volton. You know, I'm a diehard Bolton hater, but you know, I'll just throw him in C tier. It's not that I think Bolton is like worse than these other heroes. It's just like I think Sabers is just so inconsistent and weird. Also, it's like I don't know. Someone will need to change my mind. I know there's a SoCal player that's very good with Bolton, and he had top 8 with the Battle Harden, I believe. But yeah, Bolton I think just is down here with the other heroes. Viscera is my next pick for S tier. I think arguably Viscera might be the best deck right now in this format. I don't want to say too much because I don't know, but like I think Viscera like can make the 5 matchup good. Maybe not winning, but like close. And he, you know, auto wins into Prism. I would say versus Bravo, Viscera is like a 50-50 in my opinion. I think Viscera beats Briar, and then just the other decks like Oldhim, you just set up, overpower him. Lexi, you kind of just bide your time. When they have an off turn, you explode. Dory, you just kind of play a little more mid-rangey, and then same old, same old, same old. I think Viscera is just the best deck. Dromai, I'm also gonna throw in probably B tier. I think just with the popular, like Phi being one of her hardest matchups, right? With Mask of Momentum and Dragons and stuff like that. And there may be a build where like you go more aggressive with things like Dune Breakers and Pie and like Spears of Surreality and stuff like that. But I think just Phi being one of her worst matchups is going to be very difficult. I expect Phi to be the most represented hero. Another thing about Viscera is that like I think Viscera is very powerful, but he's also like probably the most inconsistent. Just because like if you look at Viscera's like past performances over the last couple of big tournaments, it's like he hasn't like performed super well. Like in the European Champions battle, he did not top 8 at all. I think there was only one top 8 also at the calling. So even though Viscera doesn't perform extremely well, I think he still is pretty up there. It's also kind of hard to tell from the calling because it was a mixed event, so you can't take the conversion rates too not seriously, but like too at face value, I guess. Phi, I think also S tier. I mean, it's not surprising. I think there's his only bad matchups being like Bravo and Lexi, and to some extent, like even the Lexi matchup has gotten like considerably better with more fine tuning. And once just Lexi has an off turn, then that's when Phi comes back and deals like insane amount of damage. Bravo, same situation. If Bravo has an off turn, Phi can definitely just bide his time there as well. I think Bravo has an easier time into Phi, just because like if Bravo slips up, you have like a fridge, you have like good blocks and things like that. You can still like have another chance to swing tempo back. But Lexi is like it feels like if you have that off turn, it's like kind of over. So these are my 3 S tiers. Icelander, I'll just throw in I don't know B tier. I guess I think maybe. I mean, based on like performances that I've seen, it's like I feel like Icelander probably lands herself in C tier. But I'm gonna put her in B tier, maybe just because I feel like there's probably some spice out there. Someone figuring out something of an Icelander that is favored into the Rune Blades and Phi, is good against the Guardians with the OTK. We'll lose to things like Dromai and Prism, but still, you know, you win some, you lose some. So this is my tier list. It's a little. I think you could argue to put one of these 3 heroes, Oldhim, Lexi, Dorinthia, into A tier, but I'm kind of undecided on which one. I think like maybe Lexi could go there. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Yeah, I used to think the Dorinthia and Phi matchup was favored for Dorinthia, but now I'm not so sure. I'll need to retest that. I haven't tested that since like before the set even came out, so things are definitely changed there. But yeah, for now I'll just leave it like this. I would say, yeah, I would say this is probably Bravo's best meta to thrive in, just because I think he's favoring Defy like 50-50 in Viscera. Briar I'm actually not sure about, but I don't imagine it's like terrible. And then like good matchups into everybody else basically except for Prism, so that's the thing. Prism S tier is definitely also another hot take. Maybe it's like people think that like, oh, you know, fine, Viscera, you're just gonna dunk on all the Prisms, and yeah, that's true, but also it's kind of weird because like Prism is almost like a day one stomper. Like a lot of Prisms will convert to day 2 at larger events, but then Prism won't convert from like day 2 to the top 8 very well. And I think that's just like the nature of Prism almost. It's like you put a lot of the emphasis on your opponent to like know how to play against Prism, and if they play well, then which people on day 2 will most likely play well or better, and they'll make top. Then they won't make top 8 as much. But I think Prism is just too powerful to write off. Like she has like auto win matchups and she has good matchups across a large spread, and she has an auto lose in my opinion in Viscera, but it's still like a very skill intensive matchup. And then a Phi and Briar are like hard, but like not unwinnable, I should say. So I think Prism's up there, and once Prism LL's out, like the format's gonna change so much. I think it might be actually. I don't even know if the format will change that much, to be honest, because like I feel like if you were going to a large event, Prism is not arguably not the choice, but she has so many like diehard players and fans that she's always represented in the meta, so you kind of always have to account for her. So I don't even know if the meta would change all too much, like if Prism didn't exist. Like I would still think Phi and Viscera are the best, and like you know Bravo has good play into them, but it's not like Bravo and Oldhim will overtake the meta out of nowhere or something. But yeah, because I think Viscera and Phi are they beat Oldhim, so it's like I don't think Oldhim is like very good right now. But maybe there's some spicy Oldhim tech that's being figured out there that'll beat all the Phis and Visceras. Maybe they play like Insidious Chill or something crazy like that. I don't know. Fighting Gale maybe, but yeah. So this is my tier list. This is basically what I would expect the upcoming Battle Hardens and the Pro Tour to be like. If I had to guess on like what hero would win the Pro Tour, it would go from S tier and then move downwards all the way to D tier, etc. So yeah, this is my tier list. Don't think I would change anything. I might do a Blitz tier list since skirmish season is coming, but also like I don't know like anything about Blitz, so meh, we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you around.